Barack Obama's 2008 election victory marked a profound turning point in American history, making him the first African American president of the United States. The election occurred during a period of significant challenges. The 2008 financial crisis had devastated the economy, causing widespread unemployment and housing foreclosures. Meanwhile, the Iraq War continued to divide the nation, with growing opposition to the prolonged military engagement. Obama's campaign focused on three major issues that resonated with voters: the struggling economy and the need for financial reform, strong opposition to the Iraq War and calls for a responsible foreign policy, and the promise of comprehensive healthcare reform to make medical care more accessible. Key demographic shifts contributed to Obama's victory. Increased turnout among young voters who were energized by his message of change. Higher participation from minority communities, particularly African Americans, who saw historic significance in his candidacy, and strong support from women voters who responded to his inclusive campaign. Obama won the election with 52.9% of the popular vote, defeating John McCain, who received 45.7%. This decisive victory reflected widespread desire for change after years of economic hardship and political division. Beyond the policy victories, Obama's election carried immense symbolic importance. It represented hope and change for millions, breaking racial barriers and inspiring a new generation. His campaign slogan captured the optimism and possibility that his presidency would bring transformative leadership. Despite the historic nature of his victory, Obama faced significant opposition. John McCain's campaign highlighted experience and national security concerns, while the political climate was marked by deep partisan divisions that would continue to challenge his presidency. The September 11, 2001 attacks profoundly altered the United States. 4 commercial airplanes were hijacked by terrorists, with 2 crashing into the World Trade Center towers in New York City, 1 into the Pentagon in Arlington, Virginia, and a 4th crashing in Pennsylvania after passengers attempted to regain control. Nearly 3,000 people lost their lives in what became the deadliest terrorist attack in history. In the immediate aftermath, the nation experienced widespread shock and grief. President George W. Bush addressed the country, declaring a war on terror. The attacks united Americans in a spirit of patriotism, but also instilled fear of further terrorism. Airport security was immediately heightened, and the government began investigating the perpetrators, identifying al-Qaeda and Osama bin Laden as responsible. Just 6 weeks later, Congress passed the USA Patriot Act, a sweeping piece of legislation aimed at enhancing national security. The acronym stands for Uniting and Strengthening America by providing appropriate tools required to intercept and obstruct terrorism. It was signed into law by President Bush on October 26, 2001. The main provisions of the Patriot Act expanded surveillance capabilities, allowing law enforcement to monitor communications, access business records, and conduct secret searches. It increased information sharing between intelligence agencies, modified foreign intelligence surveillance laws, and granted new powers to combat money laundering and terrorist financing. The act also addressed immigration issues and enhanced penalties for terrorism-related crimes. The Patriot Act sparked intense debates about civil liberties. Critics argued it violated constitutional protections, particularly the Fourth Amendment's safeguards against unreasonable searches. Civil rights groups like the ACLU raised concerns about government overreach, potential abuses of power, and the erosion of privacy rights. Legal scholars questioned whether the act struck the right balance between security and freedom, warning that emergency measures could become permanent. The 2008 financial crisis was one of the worst economic downturns since the Great Depression. It began with problems in the U.S. housing market and spread globally, causing massive job losses and bank failures. The crisis stemmed from the subprime mortgage market. Banks gave loans to people who couldn't afford them, leading to a housing bubble. When home prices fell, millions defaulted on their mortgages. The tipping point came with the collapse of Lehman Brothers in September 2008. As one of the largest investment banks, its failure sent shockwaves through global financial markets. The crisis quickly spread globally, causing stock markets to crash, unemployment to spike, and economies to contract. In the US alone, millions lost their jobs and homes. The government responded with two major initiatives. The Emergency Economic Stabilization Act, or TARP, provided $700 billion to bail out banks. The financial stimulus bill injected $787 billion into the economy through tax cuts and spending. These policies aimed to save jobs and stabilize the financial system. While they prevented a worse outcome, the effectiveness was mixed. Banks recovered, but unemployment peaked at 10% before gradually declining. The crisis led to significant reforms, including the Dodd-Frank Act, which imposed stricter regulations on banks. However, it also resulted in slower economic growth, increased government debt, and ongoing debates about the appropriate level of financial regulation. The early 21st century brought rapid technological advancements that transformed American life. The internet became widely accessible, followed by social media platforms and mobile technology. These technologies revolutionized communication, enabling instant global connections. Work patterns changed, with remote collaboration becoming common. Social interactions evolved through online communities and virtual relationships. Social changes included evolving immigration patterns, with growing numbers of immigrants contributing to cultural diversity. By 2010, immigration levels had increased significantly. Growing awareness of climate change and environmental issues became prominent. Public concern increased about global warming, pollution, and resource conservation. In response, the government established and strengthened environmental agencies to regulate pollution, protect natural resources, and address climate challenges.